Happy Friday, Roberts Roadrunners. Today is Friday, March 7th, 2025. Our weather today is going to be 39 degrees and partly cloudy. It was wonderful to see the sun yesterday. Our lunch choices today are cheese pizza, a turkey and cheese sub, or a build-your-own pizza kit. Birthday shout-outs. A birthday shout-outs to Mr. Hans and Mrs. Morgan. A birthday shout-out to Jace in Mrs. Vasquez's classroom. A birthday shout-out tomorrow to Jack in Miss Melchesky's and to Caleb in Mrs. Miller's class. I hope you all have an amazing day of celebrating you. Today is our last day of celebrating Read Across America, and I hope you wore your favorite color or were your favorite character from a book. So I'm excited to see what everyone looks like today. Over the weekend, we will be celebrating, or observing, I guess is a better word, daylight savings time. And here is a little bit of information of why we celebrate daylight savings time.
Twice a year, lots of people around the world move their clocks backwards or forward, wreaking havoc on mornings across the globe. But why? What's the point of daylight savings? Let's find out on today's episode of Colossal Questions. Credit for the idea of daylight savings time, or DST, is often given to a famous founding father, super inventor Benjamin Franklin. However, that's not quite right. While in France in 1784, Franklin, ever the jokester, wrote an anonymous essay suggesting people could save money on candles by waking up earlier and using the sunlight, but he never said anything about changing the clocks. That came over 100 years later, when an avid bug collector in New Zealand named George Hudson first proposed daylight savings time as we know it. You see, he had a job that left him with enough afternoon hours to get his bug collecting in, but having daylight in the afternoon was crucial. He wrote a paper suggesting we shift the clock by 2 hours for part of the year to help save his precious evening daylight. But it wasn't until the First World War that it really caught on. First, the German Empire and Austria-Hungary introduced daylight savings time in 1916. Then Britain, France, and the Allies did the same. Soon, the rest of Europe started using it, and a year later, Russia was on board. Last but not least, the US adopted daylight saving in 1918. Most countries in North America and Europe kept using DST after the end of the Second World War, and in the 1970s, it was officially adopted. There's 2 different versions of DST on Earth, one for the Northern Hemisphere and one for the Southern. Daylight saving time is much less important the closer you live to the equator. That's because daylight hours and nighttime hours stay basically the same all year round. That's why most places near the equator have never bothered with DST. Even though the US has daylight savings time, there are a few places near the equator that don't. Hawaii, most of Arizona, Puerto Rico, the US Virgin Islands, and American Samoa. So that's why we have DST. But does it really make a difference? That really depends on where you live. And now you know why we have daylight savings in the US. Comment below if you have a question.
So don't forget to turn your clocks ahead. We spring ahead. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So as you go through your day today, I want to remind you to be kind, to be responsible, and to be safe. All right. Please work hard today. Please practice your expectations. persevere. We've been talking about persevering all week. All right, make it a good one, and then have a great weekend.